Hi, everyone. My name is Nick Savarov, and I'm a CTO at Uscreen. We are a video monetization service. We're built fully as a monolith Rails application, and we allow other creators to monetize their video and launch TV and mobile apps. So my talk today is how we're building the app and why we're building it as monolith, and why it keeps us happy, especially in the current world situation, where it's already a lot of troubles in your life with, oh, I need to work remote, I want to go and see my friends, and you can kind of do that normally. So it's really important to keep yourself sane and relaxed at least a bit. So monolith applications, let's start from there. Our application stack didn't change much in the last 6 years. So we're still running Ruby. We added Vue.js and some modern JavaScript, but we did it probably a few years ago. We have several Outpost applications. It's smaller apps that we know Rails can handle, and they're a bit outside. But everything else is in classic mode. It's clean, pure monolith. I think in the modern world, in the remote culture of smaller teams, it's really important to not over-engineer stuff. So I'm really surprised to see when on the day one, team come up together and like, okay, we need to build our MVP app, but let's use technologies that Netflix use, that Facebook does something on their side, and we should keep the same thing as they are. But nobody seems to be realizing that when you're starting a new startup, you're usually like a really small team. You're not like 600 engineers. And it would be much easier to take maybe less popular or hype technology stack, but make it fast and keep your work week under 40 hours, if possible, in most of the cases. So how it will look like 6 years ago when we started. We will have a conversation like this. Hey, team, we need to build a new SaaS to help people monetize their videos. And by team, I mean like me and my co-founder, and that's it. We were like 2 people in the basement. So, and it would be just a few lines of code, Rails new, and boom, you're in the magic world of software development, right? But now I'm hearing the same stories again and again. At the day one, from the day one, you must split your front end and back end. You must realistically think that you will hit 1 million users tomorrow, and you need to figure out how to ship all of this like big zoo to production and make sure everything can be shipped outside of the scope of everything else. It definitely will help your company to do things fast, but problem is it will help when your company would be big enough for it. So as an example, like a lot of people showing the similar graph, like when they pick the new front-end technology or a library, they're like, oh, this is your crazy timeline in a few years. This is complexity level. So with a React, for example, for component library, you will be really slow at the day one, but over the time, you will build up your component library. You will have your team documentation on stuff, and you will run really fast. And you don't need to rewrite the same thing. Sounds like promising thing, but in fact, you don't have this time. You have now, and you're building a startup, right? So it's awesome to have things that will work perfectly if your company will survive to the point where those things will be needed. So I would suggest always at least try to do it simple way and the cheapest way possible. Another part here, to actually start feature development, you will need to build a basic REST API, right? Because you already pick up React. Let's go this route. Let's go further down there and see how it will work out. So imagine you pick up React. You're like 3 engineers, and that's it. So one of them would be like, okay, I'm a front-end developer today. I will build our shiny new component library. 2 other will be like, okay, we need to build a REST API. So let's do that. Let's not use any great old framework. Let's use something new and just build an API. Good. Yeah. HTML over the wire sucks. Everybody knows that. It's not so brand new idea. So we will use a full front end thing. And seems like everybody will be happy, right? You're building API, your front end person will build all the components. Then you need to have a few meetings in the middle to figure out that you're actually doing a good thing for your company. And you're done. Good. Like you spent 5 months, 6 months, you didn't sleep well, you work for 80 hours, but you're done. Great. So now you sit together and trying to figure out how you will deploy all this stuff. And okay, you will split the front end, you will split the back end, and you're thinking like maybe we gotta hire DevOps. And yeah, I know like DigitalOcean today testing the app infrastructure, so you will probably be able to deploy fast and easy really soon. But let's assume it was happening like a few years ago. You have your front-end app, you have your back-end app. Now you have the whole pipeline to deploy all of that. You spend another few weeks to do this. Every change now is deploying in different ways, like so front-end, the back-end. Maybe you have several back-end services because it's really cool to build microservices, right? And you build the Kubernetes or other stuff, or using Docker containers there, whatever. Any magic unicorn that sounds so interesting today. And there is a production time now. Everybody's happy, right? You build a monster, but ideal monster in terms of software engineering. But there is always but, right? There's a pivot day. So because you're a startup, you decided that you either don't make enough money in what you're doing right now, or you get a brilliant idea to niche down or get into another market, because that's things happen in real life. It could be a lot of reason to pivot. It's not always mean that your company is not successful. It's just mean that your company could be more successful. We did like 2 pivots in the past 6 years, and we're not like alone like that. The bunch of really great companies pivoting at least once. Look, Slack, Twitter, YouTube, Shopify, Groupon, Netflix, even PayPal, Airbnb, and the list is endless. My favorite story is about YouTube, because when I started to research that topic, I realized that YouTube was planned as a dating site. So that was really interesting part. So now we're realizing that this beautiful piece of architecture is pretty much useless, because you need to restructure, rewrite the significant piece of your code and change logic, because your business use case changed, maybe the whole business changed. And I'm pretty much sure your team will not be happy about that, because they put so much thoughts, so much love into solution that they built before. They will be really unhappy with trashing all their work. So you will now need to figure out how to manage stress in your team and motivate them to write a new code and do again all of those complex stuff, right? Because you love to do complex stuff. And let's go to a real example to just compare complexity of the infrastructure on the pivot day. So real story. We as a company started as a Shopify plugin to help people sell digital videos on top of their DVDs. It sounds really creepy to me that 5-6 years ago in America, DVDs was really popular because I thought back then that I was living in a third world country. And when I realized that a lot of people still watching DVDs and realized that there is a rule of if it's working, it ain't broken, it changed my mind a bit. But we were helping people to sell digital on top of their DVDs. So classic example is a Shopify store that selling Zumba workouts. They sending a bunch of DVDs boxes, and on top they want to add a VOD offer as an upsell. Wasn't really nice for a start, right? But then in 6 months we realized that most of our beta customers actually wanted to have their own mobile apps. So we figure out, nice, that's the cool part. And the next 6 months, we also realized that they don't want to bring their VOD and DVDs into the same store. They just want to split the business. Now, so this is how we get to the state where we are right now as a full-blown SaaS solution. But I guess it would be really hard to rewrite all of that with a team of, I think on that moment it was 5 developers. If we would build all the crazy stuff for millions of people. So yeah, our stack was really simple. It was just a clear, pure Rails app. Our first version of mobile app was even built Basecamp apps. So it was Turbolinks, sprinkles of JavaScript, and WebView and the most. So probably 30% was native and 70% was WebView, and it's worked just fine for the first few years. So now look at this slide and imagine that team of 5, 6, even 7 developers try to rewrite 70% of this infrastructure, or try to build a really complex new feature on top of what they have, and they need to do it really fast. So you even can see that complexity visually is much higher. So the main thing here is try to do as simple as possible while you can. If your startup will do great, you will have your time to do all complexity you want and try all the shiny new things you want. But try to avoid complexity on an early stage. Over the course of our history, we searched for a product market fit. We pivoted twice. And we managed this with minimum stress. And yes, I know not all of the project will have this opportunity to have a simple infrastructure or simple application. Not everyone can afford to work in our way and use a nice framework like Ruby on Rails or any other framework that gives you full-blown solution. But if you do, please do things really, really simple and stay happy. Fast forward, today Uscreen is an application that's handling around 5 million users every month, and we are big monolith Rails app. The only things that's changed from the classical monolith approach is our front end. So we started to use Inertia.js and Vue.js. Today, Uscreen application is still a big monolith Rails app with a front end written with Inertia.js and Vue.js. That's the whole difference from the classical Rails approach we have. And even our Inertia plus Vue approach is looking similar to classic Rails way. If you never heard about Inertia.js, I highly recommend you to read about it, because it's allowing you to build the modern monolith application where you can have your front-end developers and keep them happy and still ships things fast. Because for us as a company, one of the major differentiator versus our competitors is the speed of delivery of new features. Because we're trying to help our customers to sell more, to gain more business, and we only can do that by building nicer features faster. And our current stack allowing us to do the best job, and we still don't see any crazy complexity under the hood of our stack. And it's still possible to grow your business with that. We have a 24 people working on our product team, and we handling up to 60,000 RPM for a server load with a simple Rails app. And it's still just working fine. So please, don't try to catch up a new trend in technology. Try to build a stable business, and it will make you happy. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Nick. I'm working in the Uscreen, and we're hiring. And also for everyone who wanted to get the cheat codes for Red Dead Redemption 2, I actually tried them all. It's better to play without cheat codes. So keep it like in real life. And thank you. Bye.